Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. You are once again listening to Holding Down the Fort. It's been a minute since I've put one of these together, and I do apologize. But, that's how life be sometimes. This is C'est la vie summer. We get what we need. It ain't always what we want, but we got all that we need right now. Ain't that the truth? So today, I have for your listening pleasure a very interesting guest who I've run into and met recently in the last couple months, really, since I've been here in the East End Eclectic recording the podcast and doing other fun stuff. This is Jocelyn, also known as Evilyn Eckout. She's a break dancer, a B girl they call them apparently, and really is part of the Nostalgic Grooves group here in Fort Wayne. They teach dance classes here in the East End Eclectic and do all kinds of other awesome stuff about town. A few weeks back, they did a breakdance battle at it was the Electric Riverfront Festival that was at Promenade Park. I did the silent disco there. You can find my silent disco set on the Massive Music YouTube page. Go check that out for sure. And the Nostalgic Grooves group did a breakdance battle. It was super, super awesome. And if you got to see it, you know what was going on. If you didn't, I tell you, you missed out. Because it was sweet. It was super awesome what they were throwing down right here in downtown Fort Wayne. A whole bunch of good art happened at the Electric Riverfront. So, Evelyn is on here today. I'm going to pop some of my events here before we get into it. I'll try to be quick. So I'm trying to release this the evening I'm recording this, so it's middle of June 24th to be exact. So this Friday, June 27th, you can catch the Dead Man's Dance at the Redwood Inn. That's my band if you don't know. Redwood Inn, 6 to 9, down on Main Street here in Fort Wayne. Free show, good beer, even better pizza. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then this Sunday, June 29th, I'm going down to Lafayette for Ecstatic Dance Church at Duncan Hall. That's at 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday. It's going to be really sweet. I've been working with a gal down there, Bethany, whose name I can't remember, but she does a whole bunch of stuff down in the Indianapolis, Lafayette area. A friend of mine who lives down there did a retreat. I think there were hot tubs or there were saunas or something. And so, I'm interested to be getting into this. Come down to Dance Church if you're in the Indianapolis area. Then July 6th, I'm going to be DJing the Tulip Tree Ecstatic Dance here in Fort Wayne. That's 6 p.m. at the Dance Collective. Saturday and Sunday, July 12 and 13, I'm running music, organizing the tunes for Heart in the Park. That's taking place of Art in the Park since the Three Rivers Festival is no longer happening. The art scenes making Art in the Park happen. So shout out to Heart of the City for putting that together, making it happen. And then I've got a gig singing and playing guitar in Muncie on Saturday, July 26th. I'll get you more info on that one later. And then Sunday, July 27th, I'm going back down to Lafayette for another dance church at Duncan Hall. It's 10:30 in the morning. Come down to Dance Church. I also teach a Sunday yoga class here in Fort Wayne at Discover Yoga down on the landing. Restorative class, 3 p.m. We just lay on the floor for an hour. So come on and check it out. That's that. Without any further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy this episode of Holding Down the Fort with Evilyn. Here we go. Check 1, 2. That looks good. Sweet. Jocelyn, welcome to Holding Down the Fort. Thanks for joining me. Thanks for being on the show. This is
Thanks
cool.
for having me. This is dope.
Yeah, absolutely. So I to intro guests, I'll start with like how we met each other. And
Okay.
it's, I guess, really through both of us being studio members here at the East End
Yes. Yep.
and us just like running into each other and Porch telling me to come check out your stuff because he thinks that I think it would be cool, which he was right.
Yeah.
So that's here we
And
are.
I'm so glad that you did.
Yeah, yeah.
That you came in and saw what we were doing. So that's cool.
Yeah, I think it was like the panel discussion that you
Mm.
guys did. There was like three or four of you. It was like
Yeah.
you, Ben, was it Ben
Uh
or Ted? Ted
Ted.
Sudafong
Yeah.
was one of them, and
And
another
it was
fella who I
yeah,
can't remember his name.
Alex,
Yeah,
Amanda Platt, and me, and I believe it was just the four of us. Yeah.
that sounds right.
Yeah. Yep. And that was our breaking panel to like talk about the history here in Fort Wayne and like how we all had lineage with each other and how we were connected and like what brought them into the dance and you know some being active, some not being active, but still like we were all connected in some way. We were able to tell our stories. That was an idea that I wanted to execute for a long time just because there's just some people that are in our city that aren't able to come out and speak, and those guys were able to come and speak about their path and how it happened for them, at least speaking about breaking in general. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's a good idea to do that, especially since dance is not like a verbal communication, like a verbally communicated style of art.
Yeah.
It is like visual, so it's a little less clear to people even like who might see it
Oh, for
what is being
sure.
communicated,
Yeah.
and then like at that point you have to like be in the room or like watch a video, but it's like way better to be in the room with a person who's
Yeah.
doing like who's dancing and like
Because you get to
showing their art that way.
experience it.
Yeah.
It's like you can see thousands and thousands of videos about breaking, and they're all like amazing for the most part, especially ones that you see, these big competitions that you see online. And if you're really looking and you're looking in your own city, like some of the jams that would happen, and jams are usually consisting of like the DJ, the cipher element of having like circles with people dancing in the circles, and then if it's a competition, they'll have like judges there, and you'll see those online. But it's another to like be in the room with it while people are actually like getting down and feeling the music, and whether it's a competition or not, it's just there's nothing like it. And I feel like that's why I was glad that we talked about it, because even if for the amount of people there, I think we had like 25 people, which to me was great. Like I didn't care if there was one person. It was just the fact that our quality of speaking about our stories was like there, and then obviously gave you interest as far as what we had done or what we're doing. And I loved it, and that's why I'm glad like you're able to like be interested and ask about it and know more. Yeah.
Because I come at it from a musician's perspective. And like
Yeah.
literally right before recording, we were talking about this because Zion's a part of the group, like your
Yep.
dance
For
group
nostalgia
where you
groups. Yeah.
work, you guys work together, and he's also a musician here in town. I've done a couple radio shows for the podcast, and I'm pretty sure I've put a track or two of his on the radio show.
And
Because
that's awesome.
yeah, I've known him for a while now, and so I've just kind of like he and I run into each other and bump into each other here and there, and like have been keeping an eye on each other
And
from afar a
I
little
think
bit.
I
It's
honestly,
really
I love
cool.
that you did that, because
Yeah.
if we would do that more often, radio is different. Unfortunately, like radio is radio. Like you can only do so much. I think the only radio station in town I feel like you probably could pull that off at with like playing local and like sneaking it in there is 96.9 B96, just because they just seem to have that programming where they're able to like do that. Plus the two DJs that I do here, or any of the other local DJs, they're on there. So sneaking in an MC from town is
Yeah.
honestly, that's to me, that's pretty cool.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
that's almost like you never hear that. And
Yeah.
it gives somebody else like an opportunity, like from somebody else, which is you're sharing.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And thankfully, like with having no one to tell me what to do or
You just do it.
produce
Yeah.
for the show, I'm just like doing this whole thing myself. So
No, it's
I can do
dope.
whatever I want. It's pretty nice
Yeah,
on that
it is.
aspect.
You're
And
like, oh, give Alejandro the song. Here,
hmm. Hmm.
will you play this?
I just ripped it off Spotify.
No, that's
It was
awesome.
ask forgiveness, not permission. Hope he thinks it's dope. Because yeah,
I think
it's
you will just the fact that you did it that way too.
we do what we got to do, right?
Hmm.
But we were talking about like him having the musician and the dancer mind,
Yes.
and me
Yep.
just having like a musician's mind.
Hmm.
But at at the kind of dance jam you guys did after the that panel
Hmm.
discussion, and
Yeah.
then at the dance battle at Promenade at
Hmm.
Electric Riverfront a couple of weeks
Hmm.
ago, it was neat to see like the back and forth
Hmm.
communication between the dancers. Like
Yeah.
they'll like pick up on a certain move and then like throw that back, like the transition
Yeah.
between the two dancers. It like when they're both really good, it's almost seamless. It's like
Yeah.
they're almost like dancing the same dance,
Hmm.
but I mean, it reminded me of music and like improvising and like being in a jam band, like and
No,
playing with other
definitely.
people. You're throwing ideas out there. Throw this riff at your guitar player, and then like the drummer hears it and like picks up on the rhythm. The bass player picks up on it and like does something a little different. And I saw and have seen that same like back
It,
and forth communication in the dance
that
that
for
happens in music.
yeah, absolutely. For us, for I don't know, for me coming up the way that I did and learning about dance, it was nothing traditional. Like it's like when I have that vibe, there's a club setting type feel that I have just from the way that I came up through dance. And so that interaction is a vibe, you know? It's just
Hmm.
there's different types of vibes. Like
Hmm. Hmm.
you're for example, you're in a competition like a legit like breaking competition and not like Friday night. Friday night was like truly an open community type thing.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
Saki hosted it, and he worked with Fort Wayne Parks and Rec with Jesus, and did that, and he achieved a goal that he wanted to present, and it was great because it was his vision. And that's what needs to be supported, is that when individuals like himself or others in our scene that like have those types of visions, if they can be supported and know the legitimacy of why it's happening, you know, why is it happening? How is this the outcome? What came out of it? You could literally see it without having to write anything on the paper, just even by what you described, because it's just coming from on your perspective as a musician on how like the music dictated the room. And that's always important too for dancers. Like sometimes if you see a vibe so strong, it goes back to the music, and if you got a DJ in the room, that's why DJ is important. Like the DJ is like the person who's laying down the foundation for the whole set tone of the jam. You know, it'd be the same thing if like here you are like making music, right? What are you making music for? Is it for the dancer? Is it just for this atmosphere you're about to be in? What is it? And I think when you have all those into play, like you really do have like a great recipe being like made. And then you
Hmm.
have like the outcome of what it would be.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
If that
it's
makes
so neat.
sense.
I get what you're saying for sure. Like the kind of it's almost touching on the inspiration of where the the
Yeah.
expression comes from.
And that's something you have to experience.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah, yeah,
like
talking about like being in the same room as it.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And then obviously you showed up because you heard and you saw something and you're like, I wonder what this is. And that's like the sparking of curiosity to check it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah.
glad you came because
Yeah, same.
you're just another
So
person
cool.
now that can share like those moments that,
Yeah.
you know, that you don't need to take a picture for it. Like now you're like, oh,
Mhm.
tell somebody else, like, oh, I want to go see what it's like.
Mhm.
You know, that's how a club. Like I always related to that because when I was a teenager, that's what we did. We tried to get into the club, try to get into the clubs because we knew somebody was gonna play some music or we always, a group of people you hang out with, they're into that and they're dancing. They're like, okay, who's spinning tonight, or or what's the live club that you go to? And here, when I lived early on, when I was here in the early 2000s, like it was Pierre's. No, the environment at times was cool and sometimes it wasn't. But I was obvious, like at that time I was of age. But before I was here, I lived in South Florida and we'd sneak into the raves,
Mhm.
legit like underground raves where they have like the plastic garbage bags covering the door, and when you open it up you'd see like the lights and everything, and then you see the DJ that was on the flyer. There's so much coolness to that. But
That's
I
awesome.
for me, I just relate that to all of that because you can't give that to anyone now. It's just different. But being able to be in an environment like that kind of takes it to that type of feel, like the vibe that you get just being around other people, like getting down like that.
Yeah.
Did it
Yeah.
make you want to dance on Friday
Yeah.
night?
I mean,
Make you want to tap your foot a little bit?
definitely, definitely. Yeah. I am like honestly at a certain level intimidated by you guys because
We did have
you're
some intensity.
it was awesome to see though,
Yeah.
because like I mean that's the time to bring it, right?
Yeah.
Is like
Yeah.
when you've got that spot and that
Yeah.
like the room was packed full of people. Like it was so awesome to see that,
Yeah.
and like it's definitely inspiring. And like I DJ for the Ecstatic Dances here in town, which is like a
Yeah,
hippy
that's right.
dippy dance party. Um, but and I definitely have tried some stuff out or like taken inspiration from stuff I've seen you
Hmm.
guys do and like played around with that in the ecstatic dance
Hmm.
environment. And it's like just yeah, inspiring to
Well,
try like
and I
different things
and I
in
bet
different.
that when you did that, it changed the tone of the room. You can
Hmm.
you can
Hmm. Hmm.
visually see, especially if the one thing that everybody's there for the common interest of just dancing and getting down, and you're the conductor and like playing with the music, and okay,
Hmm. Hmm.
you see what happening in the room and you can see what works and what doesn't work. And I think
Hmm.
when you're in that position and you're paying attention to the dance floor, you're literally dictating the story that's being
Hmm. Hmm.
revealed,
Hmm.
if that
Yeah.
makes sense too.
Oh yeah.
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 And it makes
Especially
it
in
fun
that
for you because you're
context.
like, oh, look at, if I played this is what happens.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is really interesting to to see that way. And I've noticed this talking to other artists,
Mhm.
like talking to visual artists, like people who paint, and like people who do dance, and how the process of like tapping into the inspiration and getting to creativity, like the source of it, and the thing, like the act of wanting to communicate something,
Yeah.
like is totally the same. Like that's ubiquitous across like no matter what the medium is.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's like a question behind that, but I guess like do you agree with that? Have you like had that experience of like just noticing, like listening to people like artists in other mediums, and like I think of like one
Hmm.
like a gal I talked to at an art show like a couple years ago now, and she would find super old picture frames
Hmm.
and would like refurbish them and then put her own photography in the frames and would like maybe edit the photos to look a little like older and stuff or like kind of worn,
Yeah.
but was doing this thing of taking the old
Hmm.
and then combining it with something new,
Hmm.
so that she was making a statement, like a fresh statement, but
Yeah.
recognizing where she came from, like recognizing the past. And like me as a musician playing old folk music and like traditional songs,
Yeah.
like I was like, oh yeah, that's like exactly the same thing I'm doing. So maybe like that's maybe a good way to get
I think
into
I know where
this
you're
is to
going with
ask
it.
about like the history
Yeah.
and like how you got into dance and like what inspired you to go down this path of starting nostalgic
Nostalgic grooves.
grooves, like your dance
Yeah.
company. Like how did you get into that whole game?
Man. So,
There's a lot there, so
well,
unpack it how you want.
I so I used to do a lot of things when I was a kid. And I mean, I did always dance, but I remember when I was a kid, I had to have been 6 or 7. And I remember I'll never forget this moment because my mom was at a dance studio with me and she put me in a dance studio. I can't remember the life of me what the heck the name of it was, but it was in Florida. And I remember my mom dressed me up in this cat outfit for this routine. I don't remember the routine ever. I was so young. But I remember I was in a cat outfit. My mom was in her own cat outfit with a leotard, and we did dance on stage. And it
Uh-huh,
was
uh-huh,
to Cat Strut by Brian Setzer Orchestra or something. And
uh-huh,
I remember
uh-huh.
leaving that stage and hating it. I was
Oh
like
no.
the little kid mad, but I was mad because I didn't want to be in a costume or on stage.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
And I always felt that moment, I guess, here and there. Now, I've been blessed enough to say, like, I have to admit, like, I was in programs that like was revolving around dance, but I was never drawn to like the choreography aspect of it, and especially at that time period, I don't even know if they even called it choreography. Maybe they did. But I was a little kid, but
Uh-huh.
I was more drawn to the street aspect of it because it just felt right to me. It was more raw. Um, I myself have never like lived in the areas where a lot of these dances were birthed out of, but I was always around very like-minded people and we kind of just all rolled that way. And it was a
Hmm.
lot of it had to do with the music. If you were into the certain music, everybody was connected. And we didn't have what everybody has now. We didn't have the internet. We didn't even have cell phones. Like, yeah, just real basic stuff. Just
Mhm, mhm.
I mean, socializing, like being out with the kids out at night, like being home by dusk, but like hanging out and listening to music, having a tape player. I just remember all that when like elementary, middle school, and then in
Mhm,
high school, um I remember seeing like videos and stuff on TV and like movies, and a lot of the movies and the videos that were popping up were like, KRS-One, Step Into This World that had breaking in it. There was a Tribe Called Quest. There was
mhm,
uh Gangstar. There, I mean, like that whole era of music, and then on top of it, you would see like pop stars, and it would have like these dance pop stars like Kathy Dennis and Crystal Waters and just from that time period, I'm talking about like late '90s. Well, no, the mid '90s or late '90s, and
mhm, mhm,
that kind of carried on with me. And so
mhm.
I was living in Michigan at the time, and then my parents decided that my sister and I would go back to living in South Florida, and uh, that was mid high school, and I started hanging out with different people because of music, and then I got involved with BMX, and I started
Oh,
to race BMX. Yeah.
cool. No way. That's
And it
awesome.
was all because I had a boyfriend. I was 15 years old, and I was younger than that, no, 14, 15. And I remember hanging out the track, and I'm
Uh-huh,
kind of like speed through all this, but he basically
uh-huh,
told me, "Why are you at the track?" And I said, "Well, my boyfriend's racing." And he's like, um, "Then why are you here?" And I'm like, he's like, "You should just get on a bike and go." And I'm like,
uh-huh,
"What?"
uh-huh.
I go, "Me?" So I was never great. I sucked,
Yeah.
but I knew what he was doing, so it was another way of me engaging and not being the girlfriend on the track. I was actually going to participate. So I got involved
Yeah.
in it,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
then I decided to get better at it. And him and I had broke up. I mean, it was a little like thing, but we were all friends
Uh-huh.
at that time and kids. And so then I was also discovering at that time raves. So fast forwarding to like 17, 18, I was still racing BMX, and then I was traveling around South Florida, and we were going to competitions,
Mhm.
and we were experiencing nightlife because at that time period, girls could get into the clubs at 18
Oh,
and
yeah,
guys was
yeah,
21 and over.
yeah.
How that was legal, I have no freaking clue. But
For real.
Those were rules back then. So you were going into the
Oh my
club, but
god.
nobody else that was like a dude was not getting in.
Oh
And
my
then
god.
and then we found all these underground clubs like Orlando had Firestone, Fort Lauderdale had the Chili Pepper, and Tampa had another club I think called the Zone or something. And long story short, because I was at these races, we were going to the clubs at night. So I was already
Mm-hmm,
like
mm-hmm,
connecting with like DJs and music and break beats and
mm-hmm,
all of this.
mm-hmm.
So then the curiosity for breaking kicked back in because breakers at that time period, if unless you legitly were searching for a jam, and I never knew this at that time period, I was so like green to it all.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't find those things, right? But the only way you knew is if you were in the know, and I definitely was not in the know. I was
Mm-hmm.
in a completely different world, and I had seen a few breakers at the Chili Pepper, and I knew what that was, and I kind of like searched, but I didn't. And then when I moved here to Indiana, I was involved in a relationship here and was racing, and then I met dancers here. And that's kind of how it started. Like I was kind of breaking in South Florida.
Mm-hmm.
I was also involved with a group that was dancers that were able to like get involved with certain things, especially dance companies were like bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs because you could
Oh.
make some money
Uh-huh.
as a
Uh-huh.
dancer
Oh,
on like Friday
nice.
night, Saturday night. Like
Hell
there
yeah.
was times where I was making $300 at
Nice.
what was I, 20? That's a lot of money.
Heck yeah.
That's
Heck
for like
yeah.
at each gig. And
That's awesome.
those are things that people did to like one, they never thought about developing skills. You were making money, but you were around other dancers, so you were constantly like practicing and doing stuff. And so I
Mm-hmm.
was around street dancers, but no one showed me nothing because they thought I was whack. Like I was green and like they didn't know if I was really about it or not. And I was emulating things. And then I finally started picking up the six step, and somebody showed me something else, and it just started from there. But when I left South Florida and came to Indiana, I'd already got something underneath my belt. So it was kind of like there was
Mm-hmm.
things
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
crossing over. And then I met at the time his name was Glide and her name is Pringles, and they were married at the time, and they're no longer married now, but at the time they were. And I met them. I met Ted. I met Popula. I don't think Alex was there. There's another gentleman I believe named yeah, Key was there, I think. He's another b-boy that actually has a business called Pet Strong. We're the pet store with his wife.
Oh, cool.
I haven't seen him
Heck
yet.
yeah.
I've been here for 3 years. I'm sorry, Key. I haven't seen him, but all these people were here at this
Cool.
place I was
Cool.
teaching at. It was a ballroom studio,
Oh,
and
okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm totally fast forwarding this, but basically, it was I always say it like this. It was a scene out of like You Got Served. The reason why I say that is because the movie wasn't even around then. This was early 2000s, like way before any of that. But I basically posted a flyer at Subterranean back in the day, and I was pushing it as a breaking practice because that's what my friend encouraged me to do. He's like, put out there b-boy b-girl practice. Nobody talked like that then. So when they saw the flyers, they're like, who's throwing this? Like, nope, we're the ones that do this. Who are
Mm-hmm.
they?
Mm-hmm.
And they show up and I'm like, hi guys. Ted Ted might have another version of it all, but and which is fine for me because I don't think I've ever asked them their perspective in the 20 something years I've known them all. But we all have like this way, and
That's
yeah, it
funny.
was something. And I remember Pringles asking me, she goes, how did you learn and do all this? So I was explaining to her that, and then there was, so this is always like the notorious story, which is the absolute truth. I previously had met her, but no idea who she was. There
Mm-hmm.
was a
Mm-hmm.
skating thing and a BMX type show that was going on, and one of the DJs, his name is Image, his name is Ivan, another like pivotal person in our history here, because he DJ'd braked, and he was also a graffiti writer.
Oh,
And
cool.
needless to say, they were all there, and there wasn't a lot of people, but I showed up there with my boyfriend because he we were
Hmm.
BMXing, and he knew people there, and they were there, and they were in the middle of the room dancing, and I remember we went over there and watched them, and she did like this whole like popping thing, but I didn't know what popping was at that time either, and he and her husband at the time was breaking, and like all these people are there just hanging out, and you know, at the time her name was Sugar Pop. And so I was just so amazed by her, and I was emulating her when I left.
That's
I didn't even
awesome.
hit the floor. Fast forward years later, here I am back in the room with her at this dance studio, the ballroom studio, and I'm telling her the story. And I was like, yeah, I go, I met this girl, her name is Sugar Pop. And like, I saw her do this stuff, and I don't know, it just triggered something in me. So she was a part of that beginning.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
She goes, Sugar Pop, huh? I go, yeah. And they all started laughing. I go, why, you don't like her? And they were like, she's like, that's me. I was like, no way. And I freaked out. And yeah, it
That's
was so
hilarious.
funny. And I guarantee you ask any of them to this day, they all remember that freaking story. It never ended. And here we are like 25 something years later.
That's awesome.
And yeah, like from that day, we went over to their house, and we watched this VHS video called Street Dance History, and we watched locking and popping and breaking, and they just kept
Wow.
feeding me all this stuff, and so I was just hooked from there.
Uh-huh,
And it was just
uh-huh.
the hanging out and the camaraderie and like the building, and they legitly knew that like I really wanted to know about this world, because it
Mm-hmm,
was like
mm-hmm.
just like in the movie The Matrix, and people talk about this, where it's like the red pill, the blue pill. Like you think that the music and the art and the dance is not connected, but in reality, it totally is. It's just how they put it together.
Mm-hmm.
And when you find out everything was together, like hip hop culture, it's breaking, the original hip hop dance, it's graph, which is the art form, or any sort of visual art with the spray can at that time period. And like that's a whole
Mm-hmm,
other world.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
MCing, same thing. DJing, same thing. And it's all birthed out of the Bronx. And like you start to hear the history of how hip hop culture was birthed through these different individuals like Cool Herc and Bambaataa, and many others at that time period. It's like it kind of just takes you down a rabbit hole, and you just want to keep feeding yourself,
Mm-hmm,
keep digging.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And it's I don't think that it has ever stopped. It's just when people don't realize it's around,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
out of sight, out of mind. But when you get fed the information and you're like in it, you want more of it. And that's really how it kind of started. It just started like that for me. And then I started realizing like James Brown, soul music, funk music, everything's
Mhm,
connected.
mhm,
You listen to
mhm,
all the hip
mhm,
hop songs from back in the golden era, and like some of it now, like the sampling was from
mhm.
those from those bands, was from that
Yeah,
music.
yeah.
And like you're just kind of blown away.
Mhm,
And I've never met one person yet that isn't blown away once that whole thing is opened up for him.
mhm,
And not
mhm.
being a musician, and just being a dancer, like then I start thinking about the breaks that I listened to back at the raves, when I started to hear like the mixing of yep, 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 you got it, y'all, yep. It's from hip hop tracks, but they're using it in electronic breaks. I never put two and two together until I was going through this whole transition period. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
in a
yeah.
matter of a span of 3 years, I soaked up so much, and then I was breaking with them,
Sweet.
and we had crews, and like eh,
That's awesome.
so much.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, I'm sorry.
No, it's
It's literally when
that's
I
what I
start
was
telling the
looking
story,
for.
like things just start
Yeah.
coming back to me. Um, and some of the people that are a part of that, and that's
Yeah,
taking it
yeah.
back to that breaking panel. That's why it was so important that I felt like I wanted to happen, because with the program Nostalgic Grooves, that all started off an idea. The name itself started an idea like 3 years ago when I first got here. And you know, I lived here in Fort Wayne for almost 9 to 10 years, left end of 2009, and was gone for another like 10 something years, 10, 12 years.
Mhm,
But in that
mhm,
time, I never like not forgot about my roots. Um, and that's why I'm back. Like it just,
mhm,
as soon as I came back, it felt like home, because I already had roots here with other people. And I always made sure like if I was coming back in town, I connect with like Sankofa or 2RQ or, Told Ted or, the guys that were, still connected. And I was to pay respect because at the end of the day, like I wouldn't be doing what I am today if it wasn't for any of those individuals. Like even the MCs and DJs that I'm connected with today, like we're all connected because of those reasons, and that helped my growth as a B girl and like as a hip hop head. And some may say like, how much do you actually know? It's like sometimes it's not about what I know outside; it's what I know what's going on here. And I'm still not like put on to a lot of stuff. Like there's so much going on in the city, hip hop wise, that I'm not hip to everything, but the people that I do know, they do tell me. So I'm aware of it and like try to be, in the know, you know?
Nice.
Because it's not just this. There's so much more than just what we're doing.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure. And that's something that the podcast project has been good for me has been like getting to hear about these other parts of the scene and the community here in Fort Wayne. Like I know very little about the hip hop scene here in Fort Wayne, just like coming from like the punk rock scene and like
Yeah.
doing more theater stuff as a kid. I was in that world and like never really did skating or BMXing. And I think I wasn't quite that tough. I
I didn't
long.
think I was either. They at one point in my life they called me crash dumb because I crashed them just because I thought like, okay, if I had to jump, what would I do? And man, it was awful. There was only one
Uh-huh.
time in my entire life of BMXing that I was able to jump like doubles, which are like two big humps,
Oh, uh-huh,
and it
uh-huh,
was the
uh-huh.
greatest moment in my entire life at that time period.
Awesome.
And land.
That sounds awesome.
But otherwise, those things are people getting for like social aspect too, and I think
Uh-huh.
that also was a part of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but I get it. Yeah,
Oh, and yeah, the social aspect of it,
yeah.
like a group of you got together around your interest and your love of like
Hmm.
hip hop dancing and just like dancing in general, and like I just think that's so cool that you
You feel
guys
like you're in an
found that.
alternate world. You
Yeah,
literally do, and
I
then
bet.
you just want to experience everything that you can with each other as friends, and um, we there people don't realize. And if they do, it's because they had a no back then, or they were in high school and met some of these people, or, they saw them out. But, you know, there's always been some sort of history of like just talking about breaking. There's always been some sort of history of breaking in this city
Hmm,
for just as long as everybody's been in it. So 30 plus years. It's
nice.
just you don't get to see those people because unfortunately, the mindset of it all is if they don't see you doing it, then you ain't doing it. But the problem is that you have to respect the people before you because those people took enough time to learn and like were involved in that style or in it. You know what I mean? And I remember his name is Josh. I remember Josh was showing us footage and like he had a crew called River City Breakers. And it was a
Sweet.
bunch of those guys from his time period from high school and like some of them were MCs, some of them were DJs, but at that time period they were all like practicing breaking and a few of those guys are still in the city today and they're doing
Sweet.
really awesome things and they're in their own professional jobs and stuff. They may not break anymore, but that doesn't take away their history and what
Hmm,
they were
hmm,
doing then, you
hmm,
know? And I think that's important that people remember that because that's how we keep things growing. It's not about what you know now. It's like
hmm, hmm,
remembering time periods of then so things can kind of grow into where it's at. And that's a
hmm,
part of the reason why Nostalgia Grooves I think turned into a program. I shouldn't say I think, I know. I know it. And connecting with Saki and Zion and Carlos, like, you know, I never saw these guys all the time. It was every once in a while, but there's always some sort of connection you have with somebody, and I always remembered it. And when I saw how
hmm,
much passion they had for what they wanted to do, the opportunity arose when um this young lady Sarah that comes here, she saw that in us and was just like, where you guys at? Where are you doing? And we were like, we don't really have a space. We just are coming together and seeing what
hmm,
happens.
hmm,
I know, and they're passionate about about teaching and seeing what that journey is like for them. I, in my world, like, I've already done this. Like, I've traveled. I went outside the country with dance. I've done these things. And I personally do not want to be a professional dancer
Mhm. Mhm.
because I don't want
Mhm.
to live out of a suitcase. Like,
Yeah.
even to this
Yeah.
day, like, people think it's so glamorous to be a professional dancer. Yeah, but it's hard freaking work.
Oh, dude, I
Like,
believe
you
it.
got to put in time, you got to meet the right people, you got to be in the right place, you got to do the right things. And it's like, you have to be willing to go to the depths of the end of the world to do these things, if that makes any sense what I just said. But doing whatever you can to make that dream happen. Now, I'm not that person. My dream, if there's a dream now, if anything, is to be able to pass on these stories and share these memories I have of what's going on in the city. Because when you talk to some people, they're just like, oh, I never knew this was here. I never knew there was a Fort Wayne hip hop
Mhm.
dance.
Mhm.
And or I never knew there was a church that was housing like these jams, and a lot of the kids that I've met recently were connected to that church.
Oh, sweet.
And so I just feel like the sense of that is way more important to me than doing those other things because I've already done it. Now
Mhm.
it's my turn
Mhm.
to encourage people, like, go travel.
Mhm.
Go see what a jam is like, so, and then if we're able to do this opportunity like what I'm doing next Saturday, provide that platform for others to see, like, this is something you could get into. Whether or not you like it, at least try to experience it, and then you know if you like it or not. Because at the end of the day, like, at least it's an
Mhm.
outlet someone's offering you.
Mhm. Mhm.
Here are other people that are doing these amazing things, that are DJing, that are emceeing, that are writing graph, that are breaking, that are popping, that are locking, doing other street styles, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, I in a nutshell, like, that's how that whole thing came about with
Hmm.
me spitting off like within the past few years. And on top of it too, my main vision was to take these people that I knew from my come up and somehow cross them over to newer people that never met them before in our city,
Mhm.
and meet other people that have been doing it in their cities forever, and just crossing over and then crossing
Sweet.
over generation, because that's another way of learning. And
Mhm.
so
Mhm. Mhm.
if that gives any perspective,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
that's where this all came about. And like what we're doing
Mhm.
in this building at East End Eclectic is the same thing. We're sharing and giving what we know and how we came up. And it may not be right to somebody, but it's right to us. And as long as we know it's
Mhm.
right and we
Mhm.
know the quality is there, we don't care if it's one student. We're still
Mhm.
going to give them
Mhm.
something.
Heck yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why when people are around us, they're like, you guys have such a vibe. It's because we're passionate about what we do. And we're not just dancers. We're
Mhm.
much more
Mhm.
than that.
Yeah. Yeah. I can feel that passion and like just the love of it in each one of you individually. Like you can just see it when you guys are going at it that you're just having a good time.
Yeah,
And
because we
that's what
have
it's
to have
about.
fun while we're doing it
Yeah,
too.
right. But I've heard that like the way there's three stages in like a practice or like a discipline. You
Hmm.
learn the game, you play the game, and you teach the game. So it sounds
Exactly.
like you're in that third stage. Like you had that like come up phase where you're picking up on this stuff, like that this stuff exists when you're down in Florida,
Yeah.
and then you like meet the people who are like holding the gold of the information of where
Yeah.
this stuff comes from. They like have the right tapes. They know what radio station to listen to and like
Yeah.
know the DJs and the MCs and like the
Yeah.
cool place to go. They have the flyer for the cool shit that's going on. And then you're like you
It,
get out of the country, you're like doing you lived out of
hmm.
your suitcase
Hmm.
for some amount of time,
Hmm.
and so now you can give that on to the people who are learning. And like I like what you said. I don't know if you meant about like for yourself or for the people, but like you said, it's a different type of learning.
It
So
is.
like where you're at now, like teaching this
Yeah.
to other people, you're at the same time like almost starting the process over again. You're like
Absolutely.
learning new things by giving this information and like passing it on
Hmm.
to the next generation
Yeah.
or just whoever is
And
interested.
and again, this is just my perspective. Everybody's gonna have their own perspective, but this is what I've experienced and what I'm able to give through. Like, I don't honestly, I don't even like, you know, giving status or anything. Like, if I feel like this, I've heard this from other people. If other people can give status, that kind of says who that character of that person is, right? and everybody has a different story about the same person. But if the same story keeps coming out and it's the same thing over and over, and it seems to be right, and you meet that person, and yeah, maybe that person had like a past, but now it's changed, like you can see that in somebody in now, because there's maturity. Like I can confidently say, sitting in this seat, there's maturity about me, there's an understanding. And I was very naive in the beginning of all this. There's so much entailed when it comes to this dance that as a female, like you don't know, because there wasn't a blueprint for us back then. And
Yeah.
now there is. Like there's so many females out there doing it right now. And the ones that, I look up to are the ones that are either they're not as active because they're moms or their wives or they're doing stuff at home, but they're still in it somehow, and those conversations still happen, and they support other women doing it. And that was another goal of mine, is that like I want to see females in our city breaking. And because I want the perception of it to be like, oh well, I can't do all that wild stuff. It's like it's not even about that. There's a set. I say it on a fumes tip for a reason, because I hear young ladies that are like, I want to do it, but like, I'm good. And it's like, why are you good? Like, what makes you want to stay away from it? Is because you're on the floor? There's many other things that can be done with that. It's just a whole other conversation. But I also know and understand that it's an intimidating dance. It is. And is it a male dominated dance? Absolutely. But so is everything else, right? So I just want to be that person to say, yeah, you can do it. And it's going to be up to that person to practice, like you were saying, to listen and understand the game that's involved here. It's not just in one place, it's freaking everywhere. And every scene is different. And when I say scene, that means like here we are in Fort Wayne. Indianapolis has a scene like this. Chicago has a scene like this. Even South Bend and Gary, Indiana. Like I'm just talking about like
Heck yeah.
piece of people around here, like in
Yeah,
Indiana.
yeah.
Like the way you travel, like I think that's what I've always been drawn back to the Midwest, is that you can go, especially with breaking, you can go to different scenes and get a different experience.
Oh, cool.
I can drive up to Detroit and go see my crewmate who's up in Detroit, and she's part of this other legendary crew called Hardcore Detroit, and like have an experience up there. I'm a part of a group called Venus Fly, and they originally started out as a Midwest all female all style crew, and we became pretty much a collective at this point, and because we now have a male member and at the past like few years, and he's a voguer and he's out of Dayton, Ohio. We don't talk a lot, but we're still in some way connected. The thing is that we're connected by the dance, by people. Like, and
Yeah.
when you start pulling that out, and you get stories and history and yada yada, right? You can be here for another hour, like talking about all this stuff. And those are the things I want to give people, because you can't get it from the like. You can get it from the internet and jump online. I just believe in that feeling of like you're in the room with a person, you know? And it's because it was given to me that way. And I wasn't even asking for it. It was just, I decided to like show up to a jam that was in Fort Wayne that my friend was throwing, and I got to experience the culture literally right in front of me. And that was a battle, that was an MC battle. And Sankofa was in it. I don't think 2RQ was, like, he was young. But what I'm trying to get at is just the same people I keep talking about are the same people that are the beginning of all of this. And it's like, to me, it's a no-brainer. And with the culture, it's like show and prove. Even somebody I've never even met that is involved in hip hop and that are in the elements of it, they'll say the same thing. You have to show and prove. That's also why it's hard to teach this dance, is because you can't just talk. You have to actually show it, because it's so difficult to try to like break it down. And you could watch a bunch of videos, but when you physically start to do it, you can ask the students, like, it's different.
Yeah.
And then your
Yeah,
perception
yeah.
of what you think you're going to be capable of doing is totally like thrown out the window, just talking on breaking itself.
Yeah, yeah. It's like that's like the difference between like intellectual and experiential
For sure.
knowledge.
Yeah.
Like you can read a book, you can read all the books about Argentina that you want, but spending a week in Argentina, you're going to learn way more than like 10 years of reading books about it.
A thousand
And
percent.
yeah, and
Yeah.
so that's it's so cool that you're inspiring young people to do that and like have an experiential experience
Hmm.
of life. Like, don't just get locked up in, to shake my old
Yeah.
man fist, don't just get locked up in like your phone or on the internet. Like, do something with your like physical body, with your time, and
Yeah.
like experience it, because that is how you make connections with other people that are going to last, that like even when you don't talk to them for
Hmm.
a little while, you can still like hit up that person and be like, yo,
Hmm.
can I come up to Detroit in a couple weeks? And they'll be like, hell
Exactly.
yeah, let's do it. Like, that's, you get that going into a room with people and showing your passion for a
Hmm.
shared goal, shared idea. And yeah, that's really cool that you're passing that on to people, and that they're like I imagine they're receptive to
No,
it.
they are.
Like,
They, I
when I
mean,
taught music to kids, they were always so passionate about it, like, and just
this
loved
is
it.
what's crazy about teaching is this thing. There's not it's not about for us. I'm gonna speak on us as a group. It's not about the money. It's about being able to have a place, which is like I said, East End Eclectic was the first time I walked into this building. It felt raw and right.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
it just did. And I felt like, okay, this is it. And then we just obviously worked out what it was supposed to be a member here. And again, look at the other connection. I'm meeting a person like you. I met one of the belly dancers on Sunday for the big kids club that she has here, and
Hmm.
we had a great conversation. It's like we're older people in different age groups, but there's a certain mindset that all seems the same. It's like we're all doing something in our own lane to
Hmm.
create, to pass on, and to fulfill our own lives. Like, what
Hmm.
gives me
Hmm.
joy is seeing one of my students like being able to get a move. Like that move was taking that person so long to get. But what's also inspiring is that same move would have taken me 6 to 8 months to get
Hmm.
because no one showed me anything.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And the thing
Uh-huh.
is that that's why the time period of learning all that back in the early 2000s here in Fort Wayne was so I'm so thankful for it because
Mm.
I'm glad I had to get it on my own. I'm glad that I had to earn it. I'm glad
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
like I I know what that is because when it comes to the time of like being inspired and not taking someone's move, it's just like if someone's taking somebody else's creativity, right?
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
recognize
Mhm.
that and check yourself and know, nope, I can't
Mhm.
do that because that's so and so stuff.
Mhm.
On the flip side, it's the same thing I feel like with artwork or with music or
Mhm.
any of
Mhm.
that because there's a certain type of inspiration, but you also know when you're actually copying someone completely,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and it taught me a life lesson. And that was the other thing is that with I feel like what I learned in breaking and being around the culture is learning life lessons that I don't think I would have been taught any other way. And I was a very naive woman, young lady, and it's a really weird time for me. And I'm thankful for it all because now I have something to tell somebody about. I have my own testimony. What was it like to be like this for you at this time period, who you're around?
Mhm.
Not
Mhm.
a time that I would say right now in this conversation, but if someone were to ask me, I'm totally, one on one tell them.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
Just and also from being in a female perspective because
Mhm.
that does matter. And there's other women out there that all have their own testimony of like the things that they've been through
Mhm.
as
Mhm.
dancers, and I'm sure in this city for sure,
Mhm.
in different
Mhm.
ways.
Yeah, and
Eh,
like, to recognize that you were that young naive person,
I was the
and
only female
to
in this city learning breaking at that time
go away.
period.
That's wild.
Really.
That's
Until
badass.
until until unless another woman from back in the day show up and
Uh-huh.
says, and I
Uh-huh.
respect that if someone goes, "Oh, you weren't the," because we
Mhm.
have a whole other side of town, right? South side of town. And I was
Mhm.
on the north side
Mhm.
of town.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there could have been other women, but I have no clue.
Uh-huh.
The
Uh-huh.
only other people we knew that were breaking were these Hispanic gentlemen, and they would come out in groups. And the only time I saw them
So
is that
cool.
me and my crewmate battled them at Pierre's. And if anybody knows who they are, please let me know. Like, because they're probably uncles and fathers now, like
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But
That's
that was the only
awesome.
time we saw them. And, but we knew there was more people breaking. We just didn't know where they were at. And even to this day, like it's the same thing going on right now. There's
Yeah.
probably I know there's some kids that are breaking on certain sides of town, but we never see them because we're all like, it's hard to get to other areas of Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, you know, branching out and sharing it requires us to travel onto other sides of the city, which is not a problem.
Hmm.
It's just the timing of it getting them. And so, and that's the other thing we hope that we see them. We hope
Hmm.
like a jam
Hmm.
like Freestyle Rock is gonna like
Yeah.
have them come out, and their
That's
parents bring them
awesome.
or something, or even just an adult, like somebody that they used to do it back in the day, it comes out of the woodwork. Like that's always amazing.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, and then I've noticed that same thing in the Fort Wayne scene where there's like little pockets
Yes.
that don't cross over as much. And I hear from other people like a desire to like remedy that and build and create connections between the groups of people. So it's awesome to hear that you're working on that with the stuff that you guys are doing because that's important. Yeah, yeah,
It
that's
is. That's
so
why the guys are
important.
important with me. Like they they reach others that I can't reach. And I totally understand my lane. That's the thing. Like I don't reach anything further than that. It's not because I don't want to, it's because I know my lane. Some people don't know their
Hmm.
lane. Some people want to
Hmm.
drive in every lane and take over everything. It's not a reality. You
No,
got to be
no.
comfortable with yourself and go, "Okay, this is the only way I can reach, but maybe you can reach in a different way. Or
Hmm.
maybe you can go there, and encouraging others to do those things in their community."
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
the one thing I recently learned about the word community is that everybody has their own perception or idea of what that is to them.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
sometimes the community is literally like me and you talking, or sometimes the community is just where their surrounding area is, or in sometimes in when we're talking about like the breaking culture in Midwest is all these different states and we're connected. So it's always something different. But it's just
Hmm.
knowing what is it, your audience and what you're targeting
Hmm.
to engage.
Hmm.
I think that's important.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Staying in your lane, like, and then not trying to like do everything as well.
But that's how
Like,
you also bring others into the idea that you have because when you
yeah,
realize that you're not the
yeah.
person, that's the problem too that I think I'm going into a whole other subject, but I'm going to say it.
Go for it.
When there are out there promoters and when we're just talking about events, there's promoters and like there's ways to go about things. People still, not all, but some have it in their head where they can just do it all. And the reality is, if you've never set foot in a community and you never set foot in a culture, you never set foot in that type of setting, it doesn't give you a right to do it. But it does give you an opportunity to give other people opportunity to come into your lane where you're at and try to
Hmm.
flourish and drive
Hmm.
in different areas to help the idea grow.
Hmm.
But you got to
Hmm.
be able to support them too. And that sometimes it's not about
Hmm.
money, it's about actually doing what you're saying.
Hmm.
And I didn't
Hmm.
used to be that person, but I understood what I was doing back in the day, like in certain things I was involved in, to realize like sometimes you biting off more than you can chew, and it's not your place to do it. So
Hmm.
you got to give
Hmm.
it to somebody that is willing to do it, and that is like, hey, I want to help you, and give them that opportunity
Yeah,
because
yeah.
you might do the wrong thing. Even though your intentions are good, you might actually like totally flip it and like turn into something else, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
And I think we
Hmm.
have a lot of
Hmm.
that going on in the city because everybody wants
Hmm.
something. Sometimes it's not for you. It's not for you. Just because you want it doesn't mean it's right for you.
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
You know,
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. And then
I
also
went on a
like,
tangent. I'm sorry.
no, I think that's good because it's also like decide like making the conscious decision to really hone in and focus on like your lane
Hmm.
and getting good at your thing and then going out into the community and sharing that, be it like from a performer aspect or like
Exactly.
teaching what it is that you know,
Yeah.
like and then also appreciating other people for the work they've put into their lane, and like, you know, supporting other artists, like having people on my podcast that are connected into a part of the scene that I have no, like, very little knowledge about. Like
Yeah.
having you on the show is super cool, and I'm like happy that, you know, we can share a lane for a
Yeah,
little
this is
bit,
cool. Yeah.
and like go like get a little further down
Yeah.
the road by doing that, and like recognizing, like, through what it is that I've learned, like as a musician for the past 10, 15 years, like now I have skills that can support what you're doing,
Hmm.
and like see that you've put in 10, I'm not going to give a number
No,
out of
you're good.
respect for the lady, but
Quite
like
a
you've put
bit.
in years of work
Yeah.
into your craft, and
Yeah.
like getting to hear about it and like hash that out. Like we're supporting each other in our own individual projects,
Mhm.
but can still come together and make something cool, and like have respect for each other as different artists, and like
Yeah.
create connection through those like
Yeah.
empty spaces, but with like mutual respect for the other
For each
person. I
other.
think that's an important part, and maybe that's part of what has prevented like more connection from happening, is like we gotta have respect for
No,
the other artists, and
absolutely.
I
Yeah.
definitely see a lot more of that
Yeah.
nowadays than like when I was younger growing up in the scene. Like there's a lot more support, but for artists, from
Hmm.
artists, and I do believe that like the majority of people in the scene, in the community, want to see each other succeed and
Hmm.
grow and like
Hmm.
do good work, and there's really nobody putting anybody else down, and if that does happen, like that voice doesn't get listened to. Like that
No,
shit
not
gets
at
shut down
all.
so quick in this town. Like, and
It
I
really
love that. I
does.
love like
Yeah.
that we're all almost aggressively supportive of each other at times, which is great. Like there have to be like some moderators in the scene.
There
And I
really
think
does.
like
It
there is
does.
that in the dance community. You guys talked about that like in the panel, like having like you know, recognizing when a person needs to be checked,
Oh,
like
yeah, for
if they're
sure.
copying
Yeah.
or like taking
Yeah.
shit without like
That was when Kev was
recognizing where it's
talking.
coming
Yeah.
from. And I think that I thought I saw that as a really interesting idea, like that having respect for the art, that you're gonna go and like say, or like, you know,
Yeah.
throw down a move to a person to like check them and be like, yo,
Hmm.
that's not cool. Like
Hmm.
having, but doing it out of respect, being able to recognize, okay, there's a line, there's lanes that
Yeah.
we got to stay in. I think
Because
that's
that
really,
also helps
really
preserve it though
constructive.
too.
Yeah.
If like, if everybody did all sorts of things and didn't have an idea what another person did, or what they're doing, and like, I think that's where you tend to lose respect for each other, because then you're like, well, I can do it too, and I can do it. And it's like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's great, but for what we do, and meaning it, and just I'm going back to dance and breaking. Do you train in it? Do you at least try to find out who's involved in it? Do you know where things are happening? Like, have you been engaging? Like it's important, because if you're out there doing this dance and you're out there practicing, there is a community for it. You don't have to be alone. But on top of it, you also have to be open enough to go, you know what? I don't know everything. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here acting like I do. And if I'm going to even try to attempt to do this, I need to like figure out what that actually is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also is what gets misconstrued, because we're in a world now like that everybody wants to do everything, and it's like everything's for me, or they're like it's so accessible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the
Mm-hmm.
reason
Mm-hmm.
why
Mm-hmm.
a dance like this is so hard to learn is because it's not supposed to be accessible. It never was.
Yeah,
It came
yeah,
from a community that none of us could even be a part of, because it came literally out of nothing. And no
yeah.
one can fathom what that life is like unless you've lived in a community like that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you
Mm-hmm.
look at the history of hip hop culture and you go back to the Bronx, take the time to go see what it was like back then. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's not even about traveling there, which if you are able to, more power to you, go
Mm-hmm.
do it. But if you can't, like do your research, like do your diligence on finding where that comes from, because it comes from a whole lot of different type of culture. It comes from, economic situation. Like, I could go on. And that's why I'm confident enough to say what I'm saying right now, because I've actually did my research. There's still stuff I don't know,
Oh yeah.
but I learned from other people and I ask questions, and like things that I would have thought I knew everything about, I don't. And I admit it now, And I think that's also a sign of like being able to just stay a little humble, is that you're not going to know everything. But, on a dancer tip, respecting other dance styles is a big deal right now. And I think that sometimes that's also lost, because it's used in many different ways. Some for fame, some for recreational, some for performing. You can kind of go from there. And I feel like, I've been in a position where I've judged a whole bunch of things, and it's made me realize, like, even on Friday, I admitted it. Like, I'm watching other types of dancers, and I'm watching these young studio girls throw themselves all over the place and just letting themselves go. I don't understand how they got there, but I understand that feeling. So I was able to take that mindset and just go, appreciating what I see. And, it taught me a lot. But it also taught me too, is this, if when someone asks me, as a judge, you get asked sometimes, what can I do to make myself better? For those that were so into their freestyle and being out in the world, I brought them back and said, sometimes you just got to know what you're doing and know how to control yourself and know why you're doing it. You know what I mean? For yourself. It's not even about telling somebody. It's like, okay, why do I do what I do? And it just kind of helps you intellectually think to yourself, like, okay, I love the way it makes me feel. I love the music, and this is why I do what I do. Am I interested in any of these styles? Possibly, but I don't want to train in it. You know what I mean? Because then you have a sense of self. But when you just kind of like have the answer of like, I don't know, you're not doing yourself any justice. And on top of it, if you're even emulating a style in that way, you're not even respecting the dance.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And I
Yeah.
think that gets lost too, is that
Yeah.
you're not respecting the craft that you so say that you're training in. And I'm only saying it because I've done that. Like, that's the whole reason why the style popping, I love it. And if anyone heard me talk, they would be like, yeah, she was about to say the truth. I'm connected to it from funk styles, and I love locking. Locking is another funk style. It was before popping. That's what actually inspired popping. But that's a whole other subject. But long story short, with popping, it's such an intricate dance. Like, you have to really want to get into it. And sometimes, like, I just go with the flow and I do the things, but I'm not really feeling it. And sometimes when it comes out on me, it's just because of muscle memory and the things that I've learned from my other peers, right? But if someone were to ask me, "Are you a popper?" I'd be like, "No, I don't. No, I don't even train in it." And I'm not going to fake the funk with it either, but people do, and that's a part of, in the dance world. What is the problem is that you'll have people out there that do it, teach it, but they don't train in it, nor do they even educate themselves to what the history of it is. They just do it because it's popular. And for me, in what I'm teaching the students that I do have, for Jocelyn, for Evilyn, that's my other alias, is that I want you to understand why you're doing it, what makes it click for you, do you really enjoy it? Because in the end, like, don't learn something if you don't enjoy the process of it. If you don't, then why are you doing it? You're only wasting your own valuable time. You could pick up something else. You could do something else that's connected. Unless you're there for the social aspect, and that's respectable, I get it. But in the same aspect is it's just gonna, if you're just there to like socialize and talk, you're also wasting other people's time from learning. So it's like it's an ongoing thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I because I in the dance world, just from what I've experienced in the dance world, obviously is vast, but just from what I experienced, those are things that do happen quite often and still continue to happen. And I've been breaking off and on for 20, I don't know, close to 25 years, locking about the same. Freestyled majority of my life since I could get into a club, and there's always that part where it's like the common respect seems to get out the window unless you're around like-minded people. And if you know what that means, because you're already around like-minded people, like you're just on the same wavelength. Sometimes it's hard to even explain it, right? 'Cause if you're
Yeah.
just with somebody
Yeah.
you just click with and you're just like, man, I totally get it. Like sometimes you don't even need to talk. Like that's the other thing I love about dancing in general is that I don't even like talking. Like you may think I do, but I actually don't. So getting me to do stuff like this, it's only because I know what's tied to it while I'm sitting here in
Yeah.
front of you and
Yeah.
speaking about these things is because I think it's important to talk about the people that were here before me, you know, or say the things that like I've experienced because I just don't think you can get that from technology and virtual world. Like I just won't believe in that because we're experiencing something right now, you and I just talking. You know, you have your own thoughts and your own vision of whatever I'm saying, but those are the things that I cherish the moment where someone's telling you a story and you have to visually like kind of think like what was it like being in that place? You know, just me talking about a club. Like what does a club back then really look like? How come you got in at 18, 19 years old and I'm 21. I can only get in at that time, but I couldn't when I was high. You know, it's just stuff like that. And people are like, what? It was like that? I mean, there's times where you can't even get into a club because you weren't dressed a certain way. Dudes had to like take their hats off and pull up their pants and they couldn't be the, you know, just women had to wear heels and wear skirts and look provocative. And it's like, I wanted to wear baggy jeans and a half top and a hat kicked back to the side. You ain't getting to the club. It's like, why? I got money.
That's hilarious. Oh my goodness. But yeah, there's a lot again in there that I have experienced and definitely think about reflecting on music and a lot in like making a clear statement. Like there's a BB King guitar like lecture lesson series on YouTube. It's like 5 parts with BB King, the blues guitar
Yeah.
player. And a lot of it is based around how you communicate through the guitar and like being able to clearly get your point across. Like I
That
remember
makes sense though, the way he
Yeah.
played.
Oh yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, there was this one part where it was talking about phrasing and how you open it up and you play a lick and it's like you're saying, "Hi, nice to meet you folks. My name's BB. How you doing tonight?" And then you introduce yourself and then after a little bit you lean into it and you let them know how it is on the streets. And I was like, just the way he like was clear, like he knew
And he's describing the blues
like,
to you.
yeah, that's how you play the blues is
Yeah.
you introduce yourself, you let people know what you're about, and then you tell them your experience, you tell them your story.
Yeah.
And then you wrap it up with a nice little quip, maybe a joke or two, and you tell them to have a good night and send them on their merry way. And like, and
So
he knew what he wanted to say, and that's why he was. I think he's still alive. Like that's why
Yeah.
he is such a great
Yeah.
musician and a great guitar player, a great artist, because he was doing exactly what you were saying, in that he knew what he wanted to say. He had a story to tell. He had been the naive young man who was doing it for maybe all the wrong reasons. Got his ass kicked a few times when he was going out on the
Yeah.
streets, and now has some wisdom to share and impart onto the next generation. And you know that's why he did that
No, exactly.
lesson series, and
Yeah.
he's like still going out and playing so much.
He is still alive. I can't believe I said
Yeah.
that. It's my bad.
Yeah,
take
he's
that.
still kicking. That guy is incredible.
And he's still playing around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he's got a place in Nashville where he'll
Oh,
still
BB King.
play.
Yes, yes, he
BB I
does.
think he played as of a couple of years ago. He was playing 5 nights a week down there. Maybe he's cut down to 3 or 4, but like he's he's the real deal, and like stays in his lane. Knows he's a blues guitar player and has learned to do that like
Yeah.
so damn well. And yeah, I got mad respect for BB King. And like I mean like this project, explaining to you beforehand, like you even asked like, you know, what's it about?
Yeah.
So now I get why you were asking those questions, and I'm glad you did, because there is a purpose for this podcast. Like I mean, I wonder. Oh, is that the doorbell?
Sorry, that's my doorbell at my house.
Oh,
It's the ring going off.
oh my
Someone's at
goodness.
my house. I don't
Okay.
know who you are.
Uh,
Just leave.
That's funny.
Sorry.
But that threw me for a loop.
I
I've
know, and I
had
was like,
people
I'm
walk
sorry,
in while
ringtone.
recording before, so I was like, do I need to prepare for that? Um, but
You just added
there,
flavor to your podcast.
yeah, exactly. But there is like a purpose to this. Like, I mean, really, I think I've noticed about myself and talk about staying in your lane. I've noticed like myself personally, I communicate very well, like one on one with another person when we like have something like shared, especially that we could dig into. And so, starting this project, it's me sitting down with another person who I want to talk to because I think they do something interesting.
Yeah.
So, like, it could be like it's been a variety of different things. I've had a variety of people come on the show, and like, it's like the goal is and the purpose of it is to get into that thing that you find interesting, like what you have a
Mhm.
passion about, the thing that you've put 20, 25 years into. Like, there's something there. A person doesn't spend, like, I mean, me as a musician,
Yeah,
like I've
yeah.
been playing guitar since I was like 13. So yeah, that's like the majority of my life. So like I can recognize when someone's put that much time and effort and like sweat over it, cried over it, lost sleep over this thing for damn sure. Like
Hmm.
there's something interesting there, and like let's like
Yeah.
hash that out. I think that's a valuable thing that other people can gain insight and could get benefit from as well. So
Yeah.
having the experience and the equipment that I can fit in my backpack and walk
No,
down
I think it's
here
pretty cool.
on a nice summer afternoon to like enjoy a conversation with a person and then
Yeah.
be able to share it with them, like I recognize that it's taken a lot of work and effort to get to the point where we can just enjoy having a conversation and like easily record it and put it up on the internet. Like it's taken a couple of years
Mhm.
of work just on the podcast side
Yeah.
to do that, and then more than that on like an audio technical side, and then like also the aspect of gaining some interpersonal like abilities, being
Hmm.
able to manage different schedules and different personalities, and like being open to different types of people, like is a skill in and
Yeah.
of itself that like I got to recognize I have in myself as well. So being able to establish a lane that I can invite other people into, sit you down in the chair for an hour, hour and a half, and
Mhm.
like and just like do this. Like it's
Yeah.
taken effort, and to be able to recognize that you've put that effort into your own thing and like show up to your events, like show up to the panel, the dance
Yeah.
battle, like it's a whole thing.
It
And
really is.
I
Yeah.
it's a grind, but you said it's not for the money. It's
No.
because we got passion about this, and like you can't buy that.
No, not at
Like
all. That's more valuable than
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
And when it comes down to something lucrative, like I feel like that all comes down at some point later on, like later down the road, whatever that looks like. But to start up something that you're interested in and go for it, like I commend anyone at this point to doing it because there's a
Hmm.
lot that
Hmm.
when it's taking a step away and like not having fear because we're all gripped with fear at some point.
Yeah,
You know, it's
yeah.
just how do you pass by and you're like, okay, I want to do this idea. Should I do it? Well, yeah, go ahead. You know, trial and error. If you really like it, you go for it and just keep refining it and making it better.
Hmm.
And I feel
Hmm.
like, you literally made me real comfortable. It's not something that I do, obviously, a lot. Like I said, I don't really like talking at times. People think I do, but I don't. But I also think that my job that I have in the daytime, being in retail and like working with different age groups, and there's times where I'm mentoring, you know, even in my teammates or staff that are high school students, like
Hmm.
I think that's also helped me develop be as a teacher because you have to have some type of patience. Like
Hmm.
2 years ago, I taught a young girl how to sweep the floor. Never learned how to sweep the floor, and people were astonished. And it's kind of like I mean, I get it, but at the same time, sometimes there's people out there that don't know how to do these basic things for whatever reason. And if you're in those positions to be able to show a person like how to do those basic things, it fulfills their life in some way. You know, it's, yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
showed how to sweep the floor, but guess what? Now she knows how to clean her house. Now she knows how to like, do those things. And I just translated over into teaching dance because
Yeah. Oh yeah.
you don't want to go so far outside the zone of something you don't know how to do. That doesn't make you less of a person or less of a teacher. It actually makes you stronger because you're willing to stand up going, listen, I don't have this information, but I know where you can get it. And I think when you're able to have like that in you, you grow more, because then all the pressure's not on you at all in general. Like, and you can relate that to anything. And,
Oh yeah, yeah.
I think life skills are in just about anything that you do. You just got to get up and go for it because if you sit there on the couch every day and you're watching TV and you're afraid to get up, you're never going anywhere. Took me a long time to figure that out.
Yeah,
But I'm
yeah.
so glad I did because I actually had people around me to check me and be like, yo, you're doing the wrong thing. That kind of goes back to the other part of the
Yeah.
conversation. And some people nowadays don't want to be checked, but I'm telling you, you need those people. You do.
Those are
Even if it's somebody
important
you don't
people.
like, you just kind of have to take
Yeah.
into what they're saying in consideration to why they're saying it because they might be genuinely looking out for your well-being.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like I got a real good buddy, Good Luck Garrett, local DJ. He works with Funky Wink. They do the
Oh
house
yeah.
night at
Yeah. I
Pulver's
know of
second
him.
Sunday.
Yeah.
Such a good guy. I love Garrett. And last December they invited me down to play the house night.
Oh, okay.
And it was like the month before the November uh house night. I went down there and I was talking to him and I said, "Yo, I want to play." And he goes, "Okay, but we do house music. We do house music here. That's what we do. We don't do any other stuff. We're focused on house music. You got that? Like you can do that,
Yeah.
right?" And he like got like real serious
Yeah, of
and really
course.
laid it down
Yeah.
on me. And I was like, "I hear you. I totally respect it. House music, I can do that." And like I coming up in the ecstatic dance scene, it's like a little more dub steppy, like can be more like there isn't as much house music in the ecstatic dance scene where I started up.
Yeah.
But like I respect what they do and like always want to branch out. And so he had seen what I do. He had respect for me as an artist. He did invite me to play, but he like gave me a bit of a check. He was like,
Yeah.
this is what you got to do. We're doing something here. Like you were
Yeah,
saying,
'cause he's
he's
setting
got a
you up.
vision. There's something they're
Exactly.
trying to communicate and they got a lane.
Yeah.
And he communicated that to me. And I was like 100%. So like I went home and I went on YouTube and I found a PBS documentary about the roots of house music.
Oh, nice.
And like watched a 90-minute doc on
Yeah.
house music. And like it totally blew
Blew your
my
mind.
mind.
Yep. Yeah,
I
I
was
know
like,
what you're
no
talking about. I
way.
know a documentary.
No
Yeah.
way. It was
Yeah.
so cool, like to hear about like the scenes in Chicago and in Detroit and like the gay and black communities coming together to create a space where they could like express themselves and be themselves freely. Like, and is like I respect that so much, like wanting to create a space where you can be your authentic self and
Yeah.
to see that house music came out of that need for people to just have a place where they could fucking be themselves.
Yeah.
I was like, I got so much more respect
Yeah.
for this music
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
And like respect for the people who started it, respect for like Garrett and Chris Mooney and like Obi-Wan, like the people who like run the sound, like the sound system they got
Exactly.
is incredible
Yeah.
down there.
Yeah.
And like respect for the people doing it now. And like I spent that month going in on house music and like exploring and digging into a new genre and finding stuff that I liked, finding the stuff that I didn't like, and like weaving that in with stuff that I could see I had already picked up on that was inspired by house music.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, now I can see this thing that I was into before actually was being inspired by this thing that has been laid down for a long time. Oh, I get it now. Because like and then I laid down that set,
Yeah.
and like Garrett and like Obi-Wan and the dudes down
Yeah.
there were like, "Dude, good set." And I said to Garrett, "Dude, thanks for checking me." And he was like, "Oh, dude, like I felt bad about that. Like afterwards, like I didn't want you to think I was doubting you or anything." I was like, "No. I never thought of that at all." But like you conveyed your respect for the
And you
music,
had
and
enough
I
respect to go
got
and
respect for
research
that.
it.
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
that's dope
Yeah.
because that also takes a lot of just like, okay, I know what I need to do. All right, I need to go learn more about this. And you did.
Yeah.
And honestly, you took it the right direction because you listen, there's so much information out there. Let just like on that subject itself, there's so many different ways you could have gone, but you knew like what was real and what wasn't, what the where the real information was at. And I feel like that was such a dope thing that he did for you.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And then
100%.
it gave you such common respect for the other people doing it because those guys know what's up.
Oh
Like
yeah.
I don't even know them, but just I had Obi-Wan here and we did a funk thing and I had him as a DJ and it was his own self-discovery being around us because he's not used to seeing us as this type of dancers. And we didn't have too many people here. We had some people from the public that were just doing a Soul Train line and stuff. And we did a Soul Train night. And that was one of
Yeah.
Saki's ideas. And so we embraced that. And I got Obi-Wan because, and it also taught me with him to show him more about like funk music and disco that's not like it is connected to house because there's a connection there as far as like sampling and what songs to be used, but it's also a different atmosphere. You know what I mean? So like it showed him like, oh, okay, these are what these dancers listen for, what they do, and he wants to come back and do another thing, again it goes back to like crossing over and building with people because we're all connected in some way with the creative part. It's just figuring out what that is. And I think it's pretty dope. And did you feel good in your set?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's
It's like one
awesome.
of my favorite sets I've done so far. Like still, like I go back to
What was
that
one of
and
the
I'm like,
songs that you used? I was curious.
so it was like December 14th, and I found this sick Feliz Navidad remix. Because I'm like a quarter Mexican,
Yeah.
and like Pumas is my DJ name. I stole it from the soccer team in Mexico City a little bit.
How do you spell it?
Pumas. They're the
Is it
Pumas.
split? Yeah, but
No, it's just
there's
one
just one
word.
word. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. But
It-
Also MAS are my initials. I'm
yeah.
Manuel Alejandro Soto, and so like there's a bit of tongue in cheek stuff there. But like yeah, it was. I mean,
That's
it was
ill.
such a good set. I had so much fun, and like I put time into practicing it because like I wanted to do
Because
a
you
good
knew
job
it'd
and I
be
wanted to
legit in
show
front of
up.
them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's the other thing too, is like it on like again, the conversation twist even going back into DJing, it's like there's a common respect that people don't realize is supposed to be there. Like even with the DJs here in the city, there is at least 15 DJs that have been DJing since early 2000 that never get the credit they're supposed to. And if they do, it's on such a low scale. And whether it's an electronic DJ, a hip hop DJ, a party DJ, whatever, there's quite a few of them. And again, the only recognition they get is from their own peers because other people don't see the value. They're like, oh, this is like, I'm just gonna shout out their names like Polaris and Barrage. They don't get
Yeah,
enough
yeah.
credit.
Oh yeah,
Music
yeah.
Music Lovers Lounge, 20 something years. Like that's incredible, right?
Yeah, for
That you've
real,
had a
for real.
long-standing party going on. And those guys are part of my come up. And I say that because they watched like when I started breaking, they were there. And we have a common respect for each other. DJ Trend. DJ
Oh
Trend's
yeah.
been
Oh yeah. I was like he came into my mind
yeah,
as well.
like
Like he was the second person that came to my mind was
it,
DJ Trend.
there's so many of them. I could go on. And the thing is that it's important that we have that respect and
Yeah.
like understanding for the craft and like and know what they're doing because they do a lot in the city along with many others and like for those that I don't know, like that's when you reach out to other people and saying, hey, don't forget so and so. That's part of the reason why I want to do Rise of the DJ at Freestyle Rock 3 is because for even DJs that have no idea, I hope some DJs show up that have no idea about this world that want to at least see what it is because this is connected to hip hop. Even if it's on like a different scale, it doesn't matter. because it's also paying tribute to them. Like, even though I don't know who you are, I do respect you because you're learning the craft of DJing, which also stems from vinyl. You know what I mean? And like knowing house, like if you dug that far, like that's a part of it is vinyl. Like even though you have the electronic side, you know there's vinyl connected to it. Like one of our students, his name's Steven, and he used to be a turntablist back in the day when he was a teenager, and he used to go to DMC battles. Like, and he's one of our students that's learning breaking with his daughter,
No
and he
way.
came in here and did a show and tell type thing, and it's brought his attention back to turntablism. He just bought freaking techniques. It's like, you know what I mean?
That's
It
awesome.
comes full
Heck
circle.
yeah. That's
So,
great.
and he would scratch over drum and bass and scratch over
Oh, cool.
breaks, and I don't know if it was house or anything, but like that type of medium, and he's really good.
Cool.
And
Cool.
it's I have a respect for that because I never, and that was on me. Like I never thought. And when he was talking about it, I'm like, okay. But again, I'm in my show and prove
Right.
head, right? So I'm like, because let's be 1,000. Some people always say, oh, you guys used to do that back in the day. And you're like, did you really though?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
No, he really did.
That's
There's
awesome.
pictures and everything. Yeah.
That's so
So it's pretty
cool.
dope. Yeah.
Yeah, and there is such like such an awesome group of folks that laid the groundwork so that what's going on now can happen.
Yeah. And sometimes
Yeah,
it's just
it's
like saying
awesome.
those names it's just an appreciation of them. Like even Garrett and those guys. Like I went to one night that they had there, and and that was the first time I heard Obi-Wan. And I lost my mind on his set because my friend and
Yeah.
I were, it was me and Saki actually, we were just getting down to his freaking
Nice. Yeah.
set. And I was like,
He's so
yes,
good.
I'm listening to freaking house. Like, yes. Because where I came from, like I was living in Tennessee and we had to go and travel, but all those bigger name DJs were coming through Nashville. So it was accessible. Mark Farina is one of my favorite house DJs, and he's from Chicago. And I got to see him more times
Nice.
in Tennessee than I did when I was living here because I would have had to travel to Chicago, and he was already traveling down there because of his friends and
That's
long
awesome.
that it's like that. And so when I heard Obi-Wan, that was like, yeah, you dude, you're legit. And
That's
he's like, what does that
badass.
mean? And I tell him, he's like, oh, thank you so much. Giving praise to somebody in our own city. And I did tell him like I would hire him, and I did. So
That's awesome. Heck
yeah,
yeah.
I want
That's
more of
great.
that.
That's right. Yeah. And you're doing more of that. What have you got coming up?
So just on the group tip, Nostalgic Grooves, we're performing tomorrow at Night Market at the
Sweet.
Garden on
Oh yeah, yeah,
Anthony.
yeah.
Yeah. And we're doing that to celebrate Juneteenth. We're
Oh,
bringing
sweet.
playing music that's connected to Black culture, Black and Brown culture, to celebrate that.
Nice. Oh,
Because
nice.
we know where it's birthed from. We know that is where the music, the dance, it was all birthed out of Black and Brown culture, out of
Oh
the
yeah.
Bronx. Funk styles off on the West Coast, same thing. And being able to, share those things with others because that's important.
That's
Um,
awesome.
and then next Saturday is Freestyle Rock 3. It's a
Sweet.
two-part day. Daytime is a two-on-two breaking youth battle. Also with the theme of the rise of the DJ. It's $12 to get in, $2 off if you bring canned good.
Oh,
So that
nice.
that
Heck
all
yeah.
the canned goods that we have are going to the Fort Wayne pantry. So
Nice.
we last year we like took all the cans in a big old truck and just went around the city and just filled all the pantries up. I'm
That's
pretty sure we're gonna do that
awesome.
again. Yeah,
Hell
yeah.
yeah. That's so cool.
So we're doing that in the daytime, and then at night at East End Eclectic here where we're at 7 o'clock, doors open, and we're having a whole like hip hop jam. 2RQ's opening up and doing a debut song that he made for Breakers. Then we're having three DJs. One of them is our own Dak One. He's gonna do a turntable exhibition,
Oh,
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
might
yeah.
have Zion with him. I'm not sure yet, but they're gonna do a showcase. And then I have Stealth One from Pittsburgh that's coming to spin the battles, and then Shane Trace from Detroit, who I had last year. Both Stealth and him
Sweet.
were with us last year, so I brought them back because everybody loved them. So I
Nice.
have a
Nice.
vinyl DJ, all vinyl DJ. I have electronic Serato. but he also plays vinyl. And then I have Dap, who is gonna during a turntable exhibition, which
Sweet,
I don't know if it's on
sweet.
vinyl or not.
Uh-huh.
But to have all that, and then
Nice.
there's a top rock battle for 200, a footwork battle for 200, all underneath the umbrella of breaking. Saki's performing a popping set, and I'm just gonna do some appreciation awards for some people. Hopefully, all of them show up because of all the awards and they don't show up. But yeah, and like Cypher's night, ciphering with others, like being in open circles. Yeah, and the same thing. It's
Sweet.
$12 to get in, but if you bring a $2,
Yeah.
if you bring a can, you get $2 off. And
Nice.
yeah, the flyer is at there's a event page on Facebook, Freestyle Rock 3. And then also you can reach out to at Nostalgic Grooves on Instagram
Hype.
or
Hype.
myself, Evilyn
Cool.
01. Yeah.
Heck yeah.
But that's what's coming up.
That's rad.
Yep.
I'll link to all that in the show notes. So send me
Okay.
the links to that
Okay.
when we're done here,
And then I'll
and I'll
send
make
you
sure to
also
link it
like
all
our
up.
classes here that we have too, Monday and
Yeah.
Wednesday.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Please do. I'd
Yeah.
love to spread the word and try and get some more people in here. Because yeah, you guys are doing really good stuff. Good vibes, good people. I appreciate all of you.
No, and honestly, we appreciate you. Like everybody, like really enjoys your company and having you around. So you
Heck yeah.
you have a good vibe yourself.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Anything else you want to plug, shout out before we wrap it up?
I just want to say, whew, um, there's a lot of people that have been contributor to my come up and like as far as developing as a person and just being a better person. And I just want to say thank you to all of you. You really do know who you are. This hip hop scene when I first came into it was very small but growing big, and I wouldn't be doing what I am today if it wasn't for the fact that I didn't know any of you, and also outside of where I'm living in Fort Wayne and just being able to grow with those individuals. Because it's important to understand where your roots are. And some people say it's a cliche, but it's not. You got to know where you come from to move forward. And sometimes that's not
Mhm,
about
mhm,
living, it's kind of about who you surrounded yourself with. And
mhm,
so I just want to
mhm.
say thank you to all of you.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
And thank you for letting me do this podcast with you and inviting me to
Absolutely.
interview.
Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, thanks for joining. I'd love to have you on again sometime. If you'd be
Absolutely.
down. Give it a little while, let you do some cool stuff, get out in the world and circle back around. Well, it
Definitely.
always comes in good time.
Lastly, I want to shout out East End Eclectic. Thank you for
Yeah.
giving us a chance to be here in this
Mhm,
building.
mhm,
It's a blessing, and I said that to every time to Rebecca and Porch, but thank you because I wouldn't meet in we as a group, me and Saki and Zion teaching in this building right now, wouldn't be going where it's at if it wasn't for what you've given us. So thank you. And thank you, Sarah, because you started this whole journey with me.
mhm.
So,
Heck yeah.
I,
Shout out to the homies.
yeah, there are too many.
Right.
uh,
Heck yeah. That
hey,
was great.
it's like you start doing that and you're thanking everybody that you were born with too.
Thanks for being on the show, Jocelyn. It was great to have you. I look forward to having you on again in the future. Definitely check out Nostalgic Grooves. Check out, I'm going to link to her personal, her like her own Instagram page, as well as the Nostalgic Grooves. And I'm going to link to Zion and Saki's page. I follow them, so that'll be easy. I'm going to link the East End Eclectic. I'm going to link to the Freestyle Rock, link to the Nostalgic Grooves classes, all down in the show notes. So check it out. Get involved. There's so much cool stuff going on here in Fort Wayne. Like, I keep talking to people about how fortunate we are to have all this cool stuff going on right here in our little town we call home. If you do call Fort Wayne home, if you're listening from somewhere else, thanks for listening. I appreciate you showing some interest, giving me some of your time. It's very, very valuable. I understand it. And so offering a little bit of it to listen to this is pretty flippin' sweet. Yeah, it baffles me. So thank you so much for listening. Come out to my events. I'm going to try to link to those in the show notes. Yeah, so much stuff going on. I know life is busy, but there's a lot of good stuff going on amid all the chaos that seems to be. It seems like there's bullshit being shoved down our throats every day. So try to not let that go. Don't swallow the bullshit, and have some garden fresh tomatoes instead, because it's summer and the gardens are growing. All right, I'm going to close this episode out with a song from Costella. He's a local DJ here in town. This song's called Sunjoy. I mixed it into my silent disco set. So, and check out Costella. This is his track Sunjoy. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next time.